Hi everyone, welcome back to Dog Q&A. This is number 53 and I had a request for how to house train a tiny dog. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about some of the theories that are out there as to why they're difficult to house train and give you some of my own experience with Minnie, who came to us a little over a year ago. At 12 years old, she was not house trained, and we'll talk more about that later. So some of the theories that are out there about why tiny dogs are difficult to house train is that they're usually housed in apartments and high-rise buildings where they don't have immediate access to the outdoors. They also have tiny bladders and have to potty more often, and owners may not be taking them out as often as they need to go. Tiny dogs don't have full control of their bladder until they're about 2 years old, so during that time they're more prone to having accidents in the house. Owners may not have the patience to keep up with a rigid house training schedule for 2 years, and they may not understand that that's what tiny dogs need. They may not know that it takes 2 years to house train their dog. And one big thing is that tiny dogs are easy to carry, and they're not walked to the potty spot. Instead, they're carried out there, so they don't expend the energy needed to potty. And they don't ever learn to give their owners a signal when they need to go. The owner just picks them up and takes them out. They are definitely picky about going outside. If it's cold or wet, they do not want to do it. So they're less likely to potty when you take them outside. And then the last theory I heard is that the areas where they eat, sleep, and potty are close to each other because they're small, their area is small. The dog can't distinguish between the different areas. So that's the one that made me think, oh wow, that is onto something. And then I read that breeders raise toy breeds like this in big 4-foot by 4-foot whelping boxes, and the puppies never learn at a young age that there's a place to eat and a different place to sleep and a different place to eliminate. It's all in the same spot. So if you think about it, if breeders are raising these puppies in boxes without separate the eating, sleeping, and potty spots, the dogs don't have full control of their bladders for 2 years. The dogs are carried to their potty spot and never learn to signal their owners, and then they're picky about going outside. It makes complete sense why tiny dogs are considered more difficult to house train. But I also think maybe we've set them up to fail by starting them off this way. So with that said, what can we do now after we get these dogs at an older age or past the whelping stage? What do? How can we house train them now? So what I learned with Minnie is the first step, as is with house training any dog, is that you want to teach them where to potty. The first step in house training a tiny dog is to teach them to potty on the leash outside. So what I had to do for Minnie, because she was not used to that, I would put her on her harness with her leash. I had to carry her out because the steps were too big for her to go down, so I carried her to a potty spot in the yard and walked her around until she went. So she expended the energy needed to potty, and it took 30 minutes every time at the beginning, and that's not uncommon for dogs that don't know what to do. So I just waited. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to be patient with this, because this is critical. So once she would potty, I'd give her a little treat, bring her back inside. So both of those things were rewards for her. I also added a cue word, take a break, when she would potty, so then she knew now to go potty on cue over time. So for the most part, house training Minnie, this tiny dog, has become a management issue. So once she learned to potty on leash outside, that's great. That doesn't teach her then also to not potty inside. So that's where the management comes in. So what we do is we don't let Minnie walk freely around the house. Part of the reason is because we also have a 60-pound dog who thinks she is so much fun, but she does not love him. So we manage them together because of the size difference. So we don't want them just roaming the house together. So it helps with that as well. So a couple things we do for managing Minnie in the house to prevent her from pottying in the house. In the background here, you can see that we have a crate set up inside an X-Pen. One thing great about Minnie is she's fully crate trained and she will not potty in her crate. So we can always put her in her crate when we can't monitor her in the house. She also will not typically potty in her X-Pen area. So we can give her access to that area as well if we're gonna leave her for longer periods. Now I do have a potty pad on the carpet outside of her crate in her X-Pen in case she needs to go. She does know she can potty on that, or at least she will just do it. It happens once every few months, I would say, maybe 6 months or so. And I think it's because I don't know, it might be that she's just left alone longer that day, or she just, or I didn't take her out soon enough. That's probably what it is. So she also will not potty when she's on the couch. So we can put her on the couch like this when we're up there. She can sit with us and we know she won't potty there. And then she's away from our large dog as well. She is on a potty routine, so that is critical to the house training, and it does make it go a lot faster. So in the morning, I take her out first thing, bring her in, feed her breakfast, and then I take her out again an hour later and walk her around, and she will potty at that time as well. And then we'll take her out a couple more times during the day, just on leash to walk around, and she will potty. And then we take her out before bed as well. So she has plenty of opportunities to potty outside, and she will now, because we taught her at the beginning, when you're on a leash, out in a grassy area, you potty. And so that's what she does. So in my experience with Minnie, after doing every single thing you can possibly do to house train a dog, setting up a routine, teaching her to potty outside on leash, preventing her from pottying in the house, it does seem like she missed her opportunity to be house trained as a pup. So now we mostly manage her. She has come a long way since we first got her, because at the beginning she would just potty anywhere, and now she won't do that. But I would never leave her loose in the house, and that's part of it. If I let her run loose in the house, she would probably potty whenever she wanted. But now she's a little more controlled in her routine, and she goes out to potty outside, and she gets rewarded for that because she likes it now. So hopefully this helps you with giving you some insight into your own tiny dog house training issues. And I hope it also sets you up with the proper expectations for house training your tiny dog. So make sure that what you expect from your dog is actually possible for your dog. If you need help with house training or other behavioral issues, you can visit my website, triciacasper.com, and there will be a link in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.